Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to the Adobe XD Daily Creative Challenge. My name is Howard Pinsky, Senior XD Evangelist at Adobe, and I apologize for that very slight minute or two delay. YouTube was having issues picking up our stream, but we are here. We are back for day 2, and if you are tuning in live here on Behance, definitely let me know who you are and where you're tuning in from. I'm streaming live right now from beautiful, sunny, not earthquakey Los Angeles, and a big good morning or afternoon or evening to Samuel and Laju and Nakul and Tim and Natasha or Nyasha. I apologize. I always get that wrong. Daniela, Eleanor, and Joss. Who else do we have here? Raul, Kristen, Danielle I said already, Steve, and Peju, and everyone else tuning in live. Kristen's in LA as well. We've got cars in the house. Awesome to have all of you here. If you just caught the last stream with Anna, great illustrations. I love that stuff. And then right after this, we've got some more awesome, good XD goodness. So definitely stay tuned for that. So we got someone from Victoria, Canada. Awesome. Chicago and India. Again, I always mention India because in India right now, it's midnight. And all of you are staying up to watch me. Which I don't know if I would stay up to watch me at midnight, but you know, thank you. So we're going to just jump into this. Let me hop over to my screen for a second. Boop, there we go. And this is day 2 of the Adobe XD Daily Creative Challenge. If you're brand new and just catching up, let me go over some groundwork just to kind of get you up to speed. So at the top of this page, which is by the way, behance.net/challenge/XD, you can find all the information on the XD Daily Creative Challenge, and there's a nice big blue button at the top. If you haven't hit that button yet and you do want to participate in the challenges, definitely press that button. That way you get notified at 8 o'clock in the morning Pacific time, not midnight, when we release new challenges. And so every day you're going to receive a challenge. You can join us on Discord, and I'll show you that in just a moment. You can tune in either at 11:30, 12:30, 1:30, or midnight, wherever you are in the world, to watch me kind of give you some inspiration on what the challenge is for that day. And then you're going to share your work. And there's a few ways you can share your work. You can either share it on Behance using the keyword XD Daily Challenge, and we can go in here, we can search, and we can sort by most recent this week. And there's a ton of challenges that have come in just over the last day. Some really cool ones. This one over here is from Alina. I love the colors of this one. She kind of ran with the space theme that I'm running with, and she also started to put together a little bit of a presentation. She's embedded her landing page inside of a laptop, and then she's already got some sort of a little bit of a design system going on with some colors and some character styles. I love seeing stuff like this, but more importantly, potential employers love seeing stuff like this. So definitely, take your time, and throughout this process, I'm going to show you more about presentations on Behance, but take your time and put together something really cool. And this one here is from Megan, who put together this. She has also a little bit of an embedded prototype up here, and you can kind of see, I haven't clicked on it yet, but you can kind of see that there's a little bit of a slideshow. And this is all about the world's most Instagrammable places. And don't lie to yourself. We all think about these things when we're traveling to new places. Is this shot Instagrammable? So I love the little carousel at the top that kind of brings everything together. All right. So back to the landing page. We also have our challenges at the bottom. So yesterday we tackled the landing page refresh, and we kind of took a look at a landing page that may not necessarily have worked from way back in the day. And we kind of put a little bit of a modern spin on it to focus on a beautiful image, a search box, navigation, that sort of thing. And today we're actually improving on that search experience, and I'll touch a little bit on that in a second. But hopping over to Discord for just a moment, here's Discord here, and we have a bunch of different channels, design feedback, introductions. You can tell us all about yourself, what you do for a living. You can chat, you can ask questions, a lot of different cool things. But the design feedback section is where you really want to post your work that you've been working on for this challenge, because that will allow our moderators and our great community members to just dive in here and give feedback. And there's been, look at the little scroll bar at the top, and this is just last night. There's just I don't know how many, I haven't counted, but there's a lot of really amazing pieces that all of you have been putting together. And the moderators are in there, and the mentors, and everyone's in there just kind of giving really good feedback. And what's really cool is many of you are taking that feedback and you're really applying it to some of the work that you're doing. So definitely, if you want to, take a look at some of this stuff, dive in here. I was going to hopefully highlight some of it, but we lost a few minutes at the beginning because of the stream. So let me jump to the present, see if we have anything new. We do have some new stuff, and it looks like we have Cars is in there. We got some cool stuff. All right, so we're gonna hop over to Adobe XD and we're gonna get going with day 2 of the challenge. Let me go ahead and find the kit. Here we go, let me delete this. All right, so here's the kit for today. And again, it focuses on the search experience. And what we're trying to do in each day, we're trying to provide you with an experience that may not necessarily work, and then we're going to show you how to improve on that. So in this example here, we've got sort of a really nice looking landing page, but the problem with this one is that there's really no search experience above the fold. You have to kind of go all the way down here to find a search experience, which probably isn't the best idea, because if you're landing on a page like this, you want to be able to find locations more or less immediately. And there's a few things you can also use some plugins, and I'm gonna show you that in a moment. We have got the calendar plugin, we've got Google Sheets, and a few little what to avoid areas. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just grab my artboard from day 1. I'm gonna duplicate it just so we have all the progress still in place. And we're going to make some changes to the search experience. And we're gonna add some filters, we're gonna add some additional categories, some maybe recommendations, a little bit of a calendar and that sort of thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by enlarging this component that we turned, the search field that we turned into a component. And I'm going to do that because we need some more information, right? And if you have any questions throughout this process, I am taking a look at chat, so definitely throw them in there. So I'm going to just hold down my Alt or Option key and just enlarge the search box just like this. And you're noticing that most of it enlarges really nicely with responsive resize, but because this was a Boolean object, I just have to go in here. Whoops, where did it go? Oh, I double clicked on the image instead. I just have to double click on, there we go, grab this, move it in. I might want to actually make the button a little bit longer. So I'll do that. I'll grab the button, make that a bit longer, just like this. Make sure everything looks really nice and lines up. There we go, perfect. That looks good. So we've got our button a little bit longer, and we now have a lot more room for some of the filters and categories and that sort of thing. Now in this case, what I want to do instead of just having one single search box, I actually want to have a place for a location, maybe the date you're leaving, the date you're coming back, and how many people are involved. So I'm actually going to delete the search icon for now. And even though it's a component, I can still do this. And if it's an instance, I can do that without affecting any of the other ones. So this one will be the location that we're traveling to. So in this case, let's go for Saturn, and that's in the Milky Way. Whoops, Milky Way. Wow, I can't spell today. I'm gonna make sure to left justify that and pop it over here. Now for these, I definitely want to have some sort of icons to represent each category. So I'm gonna hop over to Nucleo. And of course, if you don't have Nucleo, if you have any other icon manager, you can use Feather Icon as well. Those are free open source icons. I'm gonna type in, let's say planet. I recently got a new keyboard, so I'm making a few spelling mistakes. Drag this into XD, move this into place. There we go. Maybe I'll make the text a little bit smaller because we will need a little bit more room for some of the other things. There we go. And I do want to make sure to save this as a color. I do have that saved as the color, so I can make sure I can grab my planet and just boop, there we go. Make sure it's all the same color. Perfect. That looks pretty good right about there. We got Saturn, Milky Way. Perfect. All right. That looks good. So for the next one, we want, Josh is saying, I can't spell today. Howard every day. Yes, you are absolutely right. Next thing we want actually the calendar. So for the day you're leaving, the day you're coming back. So I'm going to duplicate this text over, and this will be, let's say we're leaving February 15th. And in XD, we now have super and subscript. So I can just press on the superscript, boop, there we go. And now we have a nice looking text just like that. And maybe we'll come back on April 21st, just like that. Superscript, bam, fancy. But now, of course, we need some sort of a calendar, and you can find calendar icons pretty much everywhere. Calendar, I'm gonna drag one into XD, just like that. Grab it, move it into place, make sure everything lines up, make sure the color is the same. All right, that looks good. I'm gonna duplicate this over. Perfect. So now that we have the location, we have the date we're leaving, the date we're coming back, we also need how many people. So I'm gonna duplicate this over, and this will, let's say, be 2 people. And one more time, over to Nucleo and user. And of course, as you're designing this, you might want to go in a completely different direction with some of these categories. Of course, if you're not doing a space theme, Saturn and Milky Way probably won't be the right solution, but I'm gonna stick with this for now. And like I mentioned yesterday, I encourage all of you to go super creative with some of this stuff. But now that these are all done, I wanna make sure to all put them into groups. So I'm gonna select the user icon. I wanna make sure to set the right color. There we go. So I selected that and this, Command and Control G to put it into a group, and this will be people. And then we've got April 21st. This will be, let's say, returning. And we've got these two, group. This will be leaving. Wow, I can't spell again. And this will be location. And what this will allow me to do is I can put this one over here to the right near the button, and then select all of these, and then I can use my distribution options right here at the top. And this one right here will allow me to distribute horizontally. So it'll look at the first one on the left, the last one on the right, and distribute everything else evenly, just like that. Really nice. So now that we've got some categories, we need to actually have some information that we can trigger on click. So a calendar might be one of those things. So let's say February 15th, you might want to change that date or at least demonstrate what that calendar looks like. So what we could do is we could just design a calendar from scratch and do every single day, but no one wants to do that. So what I'm going to do, I have my artboard selected. I'm going to hop into my plugins panel, and people are asking about the icon manager I'm using. It's called Nucleo. There's the title right there. The icon manager itself is free and allows you to grab your icons and just drag them in. You can purchase Nucleo's icons. I haven't done that yet because I already had some icon sets, but I found it's a great manager just to grab all your icons and have them all in one place. So I have my artboard selected, I'm in my plugins panel, and I'm going to click on calendar, just like this. And if you don't have that installed, press the plus button at the top. You'll be able to browse plugins. There's hundreds and hundreds of plugins. So I'm gonna press on calendar, and let's go for cell size. We'll go for, let's say, 42 and 42. And the month, let's find February. There we go, February 2019. And you can choose how you want it displayed, if you just want the initials or you want mun to wed, that sort of thing. So I'm gonna do that. Okay, and all of a sudden, we have a calendar. Super cool, super easy too. Now I might want a little bit of a rectangle behind that calendar. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna grab my rectangle tool and simply draw one out. I'll give a little bit of a border behind it, just like that. Move it behind that group. Did you notice how easy that was to create that calendar? I didn't have to do any work. I just have to open a plugin, choose what month, and boom, I have a calendar. How cool is that? And then it's all editable, so I can just dive in here if I want to make, let's say, all these colors a different color. I do already have, I'm gonna select this color, add it to my assets panel. I'm gonna right click, press edit, and just change the color. So I can make it dark if I wanted to, dark mode calendar, or if I make it white, just like that. I can do the same for this color, right click, edit. Maybe I'll make this one a little bit lighter. And then this color here, this one is already in my assets somewhere. Which one is it? It's there, so I can just do this manually and make this light. There we go. Now I might want to highlight what day is selected, so I can just select the 15th, and maybe I'll change this to a nice blue, or I have a blue over here to the right, to the left in my assets. Might want that a little bit lighter. And then I can change the color of that text to white. Perfect. And just like that, we've made a calendar in just, a minute or so. Now I'm gonna hop back over to my layers. I have all these crazy layers, but they are all grouped, so I can just select the group, select the rectangle in the background. Whoops, I just hid XD. I'm gonna group it and just name this calendar. And now I can position it exactly where I want it. I might wanna also turn off the border on that rectangle in the background, but I may wanna add a little bit of a shadow. And I'll just bump up the blur just so it's not super crazy. And maybe I'll even decrease the opacity just a touch. All right, so we've got a little bit of a calendar. Now, we may not want necessarily this calendar to be floating on our landing page the entire time. We may only want it to be visible when someone clicks on the date that they are going or leaving, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy this calendar. I'm going to just delete this. Boop, there we go. And I'm going to create a separate artboard over to the right. Just like this, drag out an artboard and then paste that calendar in place. So I have it here. I'm going to leave it somewhere in the center of this artboard. I might not need it so large, so I'm going to just double click on the artboard, make it a little bit smaller, and I'm going to turn off the fill in the background. You're going to see why this is important in a moment. I can also name this calendar. There we go. And now let's go ahead and dive into some prototyping just for a second. So in this case, let's say again, when someone clicks on this date here, that calendar is going to appear. Instead of making an entirely separate artboard for that experience, we can use what are called overlays. So if we can go up to the top into prototype mode. Boop, there we go. We can select, we don't want to select the entire search field, but we just want to select, so I'm going to dive in, double click. We just want to select this group that contains the date and the calendar icon. I'm going to drag the blue handle, this little guy here, over to this little tiny artboard that just contains our calendar. Now over here to the right in our properties inspector, we have the trigger. In this case, we do want someone to tap on that date, so I'm going to leave it at tap, but we don't want a transition. Because what a transition will do, it'll take your initial artboard and transition to a completely other artboard. We don't want that. Instead, we want overlay. And this will allow me to actually position this calendar where I want it to appear when someone taps on it. So I'm going to leave it right about there. And then I can choose how I want it to appear. Do I want to cut, which is basically none, or dissolve? Do I want to slide in from one of the sides? I'll just go for none so it just appears. And I don't have to worry about any of the other options. So now when I press on the play button at the very top, I can click on February 15th, click, it appears. I can click off of it to hide it. And if I can just move it into place just like that, play, there we go, calendar, click off to hide it. So I'm not being distracted by calendar when I don't want it. It's there when I need it, and it's not there when I don't. All right, back into design mode. Let's do one more quick thing, showing you a little bit of a repeat grid. So what I'm going to do is right below, I may want when someone clicks on, or when someone's searching, it'll show kind of, suggestions for other places. So I'm going to draw out a rectangle, make sure I'm not inside of the component, I'm outside of the component, draw out a rectangle just like this. I'll have it go off the artboard to show that there's more information down below. And maybe I want a little bit of a triangle at the top. So I'm going to grab my polygon tool, just draw out a triangle just like that, pointing up to the search field. Perfect. Move these down a touch, turn off the border. And if I do want to combine them into a single shape, I can use my Boolean options at the top and just combine those. And now it's one single shape. All right, so we've got that in place. And now we want some information within this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a rectangle, and I'm going to draw out just a square like this. Perfect. And Richard's saying maybe make the calendar a little bigger. Yeah, I probably agree with you. It's probably a little bit too small. We can definitely tweak that. That's something very easy we can do if we have a little bit more time. So I'm going to make just like that. And beside this, we might want the destination. Make sure that's a darker color. I can also hop into my assets panel just like that and use one of my preset colors. That looks good. So destination over here to the left. I want to make sure that I'm using the right font that we've been using this entire time. Make it a little bit larger. And I might want this to be area text instead of point text, so I can make sure that I have room for all the different destinations just like that. And then maybe over to the right, we might want how far that destination is. So this will just be light years. So I'll just do LY for now. And I'm going to make sure to right justify it and turn off area text. Perfect. So now that we have that done, we're gonna turn this into a repeat grid. So I'm gonna select all of these, Command and Control R, or I can press the repeat grid button at the top, boop, and then just drag out a few going down the artboard. I'll do 5 for now. All right. So now, of course, we need some content. I'm gonna show you 2 ways very quickly how to get content into Adobe XD in a repeat grid. Let me hop over to Finder. Here's Finder here. And we've got a bunch of images, and all I can do is I can just grab these images here, drag them directly into Adobe XD. It's going to automatically pop them into that repeat grid in order. The same works for text files. So I have this text file here. It's a plain text file of a bunch of planets. I can do the exact same thing and pop it into destination, and it automatically populates. Now, another way, I forgot to open my Google Sheet, but let me show you how that works. Let me make sure I'm on my other monitor right now. I'm going to show you the magic of the Google Sheets plugin. So let me move this over here. So I've got this Google Sheets plugin, and I kind of covered this on Monday, but if you're working with a much larger team that is controlling the data, whether it's various columns and images and that sort of thing, what you can do is you can have a Google Sheet, you can copy the sheet. Let me hop back into XD. I'm going to undo all of this. So now I just have a repeat grid, right? I'm going to go over to my plugins panel one more time. I'm going to find the Google Sheets plugin. This is one of my all-time favorite plugins. I'm going to paste the public link, and if you do have just a CSV file locally, you can do that as well. I'm going to paste, continue, and now unable to, I didn't make it public. That was my fault. Share, it's locked. So I'm going to make it public. Hold on. Anyone can view, there we go. Now I should be able to do it. I got it. Paste, continue. And now we have to map the columns within the Google Sheet to the XD elements. So this one, the rectangle is going to be the image, the destination is going to be the planet, and light years is going to be the distance. And all I have to do is apply. And it's going to take all that information from the Google Sheet and pop it directly into Adobe XD. And the cool thing is if I make any changes, let's say this one here is now called Earth 2.0, because we've all burned and we have to get off this planet, so we're going to Kepler. Or I guess Kepler's the telescope, right? I'm going to go, all I have to do is just go back here, refresh content, and it's going to automatically, come on, read it, do it, Wi-Fi. Well, it should. It would basically take that new information and pop it into the repeat grid. It will work eventually. Come on, I have faith in you. Do I not have that selected? Oh, okay. Anyways, it doesn't matter. It works, I promise. Google Sheets is really cool, or you can just use a standard repeat grid. And just like I showed with the calendar, you can grab this element, pop it onto its own artboard, so you can use this pretty much on any project, any screen, anything like that. Really cool stuff. I'd probably also add a title at the top, but for now, I will polish this a little bit later. That will be it for today. So we polished up the search field a little bit. We've added a few more elements like a calendar and search suggestions. And then tomorrow we're going to be back. Who knows what we'll do, but definitely stay tuned for that. Again, apologies for the little bit of a stream delay at the very beginning, YouTube being YouTube. So that'll just about do it. Thanks so much everyone for watching. Definitely post your work in the design feedback section on Discord. Use the hashtag XD Daily Challenge on Behance, and I will see you all tomorrow morning.